Welcome to KTN Weekend at 1. It is Sunday, the 8th of June 2014. My name is Najma Ismail. Now, a section of leaders from the central Kenya have dismissed calls by CORD leaders Raila Odinga to have Kenyan troops in Somalia withdrawn. The leaders say Raila's sentiments are misguided, saying Kenya is in Somalia as part of a wider African Union peacekeeping mission. They also say the planned nationwide CORD rallies are meant to create tension in the country and ask CORD to wait for the next general elections to start campaigns.
Somalia. Now, as an informed leader, he should know Kenya is not in Somalia. The African Union mission in Somalia is in Somalia, and Kenya is one of 5 or 6 troop contributing countries. As we contribute troops in other United Nations operation areas, including Sudan, including former Yugoslavia, including Namibia, and other countries around the world.
Hii maneno ya kuanza kusema ati watutoe majeshi kule ili Kenya isikue salama, mimi nawaambia mchana hii ni jama ya kutaka kuiharibia sifa serikali ya Uhuru Kenyatta. Hatimaye tunajua wanashirikiana na wazungu.
Kenya is safe. Kenya is secure. There is no need for dialogue. We don't see it. If you have a manifesto, wanasema ati iko na manifesto ile wanataka kuonyesha Uhuru afanye. We don't want to see the manifesto. We don't want to see it. We don't even want the ideas.
That the government of Uhuru Kenyatta is already very popular on the ground, and that he was overwhelmingly voted by Kenyans. And still, those who voted for him have confidence with him.
And coming to Raila's defense is Embakasi South MP Irshad Sumra, who says their Jubilee counterparts are interpreting the call for dialogue in the wrong way. Sumra says the issue crippling the country cannot be solved by people in the ruling coalition only. Sumra says President Uhuru Kenyatta should listen to voices from across a political divide if he wants the country to prosper. The MP also dismissed as cheap politics those saying CORD wants to topple the government.
And I want people to understand Raila. He is calling for national dialogue because of insecurity, because of cost of power is going up, because of businesses are going up, because of terrorism. This national dialogue is being politicized. There is no way even Raila or Sumra or this one can take the government. And the president is rightly said, is ready for the national dialogue. This country needs prayers, this country needs dialogue because the businesses are suffering and insecurity has to be addressed. So let us not politicize. Even new media, when Uhuru is saying he's ready for dialogue and when Raila says they're going, the aim is one. The aim is one. As national leaders, Raila has no objective of taking the government. So please, you as media, let us address the issues.
Moving on to Mandera now, the notion that the county is not food sufficient should be scrapped out of the minds of the county's residents if they want to stop reliance on food aid. Mandera County Governor Ali Roba, together with the County Commissioner Martin Ole Tialal, donated farm implements to the Border Point 1 irrigation scheme, which is among the largest scheme in northeastern. Situated 6 kilometers east of Mandera and covering 200 acres, the scheme is meant to take Mandera food sufficient in the near future. The scheme was started in 1973 by the government with the assistance of FAO and the German missionaries. The government reassured the farmers that they will be accorded full support from the county government in terms of inputs and training.
Tumechoka na kupatiwa relief food, msaada wa chakula, na kila wakati tumezoea kupatiwa chakula ambacho ni cha bure. Ni vizuri tujifanyie kazi yetu kwa mikono yetu. Ukiona sasa ni furaha.
Na kati ya matrakta ambazo tumenunua hivi juzi, trakta moja itakuwa inasaidia wakulima wa Border Point 1 peke yake, ili kuhakikisha wakati mnahitaji trakta iko na nyinyi na hakuna kuambiwa trakta yenu imeenda mahali fulani, na nyinyi mnatakiwa muamke kwa usingizi, ufanye bidii, muhakikishe mumeweza kutufanya watu wa Mandera kujivunia hii scheme ya Border Point 1 kwa ile kazi ambayo mtafanya.
Now, for the last few weeks, there has been quite some conversation about the Luo culture. Remember the Luo festival, where they told us about Obama, Lupita Nyong'o, and later there's Divorking Origin. the only Kenyan lined up to play in the World Cup. Well, now someone seems to be taking it to a whole new level with a form of writing that would stand alongside world-famous writing systems such as Arabic and Chinese. And as KTN's Sharon Mamani reports, the developers hope it can soon become, yes, that word again, a lifestyle.
When you look at this script, you probably would dismiss it as one penned down in a foreign writing system. My guess is you'd categorize it with the likes of Chinese and Arabic characters. Only, it is not. In fact, what it is a newly invented type of a script, a Luo script to be precise, and the developer, Kefa Ombewa, says it will add to the effort to completely do what he calls decolonizing the African culture.
I was interested in making sure that African societies, and in this case particularly Luo, also have their own script.
The Latinization of Luo is what he calls the project. The script opposes the Latin alphabet A to Z, which is used officially in Kenya and in many countries on the continent. For every letter in the Latin alphabet, Kefa has developed one in this script they call the Kefa Sidandi font, though his script has 33 characters in total, 7 extra characters from the Latin alphabet.
I just sat down and decided how each character would look like. However, I had a guiding principle that words that sound the same should be written almost similarly.
Though he started alone, Kefa met his partners in a very amazing way.
I worked for over a year and a half alone. I was joined later by my friend called Will Were, who is an expert in artistic work, until 2014, when Dr. Paul Sidandi was also working separately without us knowing. He was working separately on numerals, okay? Luo numerals as well. He put our work together, then decided to launch the Kefa Sidandi font.
The font is embedded on his website, kefaombewa.com, and can be installed on a computer, after which it appears as one of the drop-down font options on Microsoft Word. It is different, and if you doubt, look at what your next wall clock might look like. Or perhaps a t-shirt. And what are numbers without a good old calendar? But the script would require one to take time to learn the characters. Yet, according to Kefa and his partner, Professor Sidandi, African history must be written in an African script.
Yes, most of our work has been on Twitter. When you introduce the font to people, I usually have two extreme responses. Either someone who really wants to learn it and wants to help me, or the people who are very averse to it.
So let's try writing my first name. We begin with the combined sound sh or sha, as Kefa calls it in his script. So there's a symbol for that combined sound, sh, and that is it. Then we have a, then r, then o, and N. This translates to Sharon. Bingo. Not so easy, but do I say? With tongue-in-cheek, I ask Kefa whether this is part of the hyped Luo culture, famed for doing things different and with elaborate flamboyance. So now, they even have their own font and script.
All of them are incorporated. Why? Because I want to make it an African script. So if the Luo want to enjoy the script and own it, I don't mind, but it is an African script.
Bring us together as Kenyans, and we'll have a common identity as Kenyans.
It should, but it needs to begin with the children, right in the earliest stages, so that it spreads.
The Latinization of African languages started a while ago. It's only that people are not familiar with it. However, the difficulty maybe has been digitization. So this is why we went very fast into digitization. So when all this is done, I envision an Africa that is Latinized all the way from West Africa to East Africa.
There's a whole history of writing systems, from alphabets, ideograms, pictographs, and hieroglyphics, all which convey meaning in graphic form. And Kefa and his colleagues hope that their script will be the latest contribution to this rich tradition. Sharma Manyi, KTN.
Maybe I should look for Kefa to show me how to write Baba. Moving on, normal church services at the Winners Chapel Ministries in Kakamega were disrupted today by irate members of public who stormed their premises over the mysterious death of a teenager. Charged crowds engaged police in running battles as they forced their way into the church situated at Juakali Estate. Law enforcers had a difficult time trying to refrain the mayhem that lasted for close to 5 hours. The genesis of the stalemate is the mysterious death of 13-year-old Deborah Acheng, whose body was found brutally murdered near the church's premises with body parts stashed in different directions. The mob set part of the church on fire over accusations of cults, with a bishop's vehicle badly disfigured during this standoff. This even as the church stayed clear, the allegations blaming the certain quarters for sullying their name.
Kipande chake cha mtu kiko kanisani na hatua kusema kwamba watu wanajua. Ni hiyo kipande imepatikana na haina damu, imekatwa tu lakini haina damu. Kipande yote haina damu bali popote. Lazima wananchi wakashuka kwamba ni child.
Now, if the Protection Against Domestic Violence Bill is enacted into law, testing for virginity and forceful wife inheritance will be classified as domestic violence and will be punishable offences. It is a prospect that has drawn varied reactions as the implications dawn on members of the public. KTN's Wilkiston Nyabwa has that report.
The Protection Against Domestic Violence Bill 2013 contains a raft of recommendations, but it is its definition of violence that is now set to herald changes. In the Act, violence is defined as abuse that includes child marriage, female genital mutilation, forced marriage, forced wife inheritance, interference from in-laws, sexual violence within marriage, virginity testing, and widow cleansing. While all of these are contentious issues, it is the classification of forced wife inheritance and virginity testing as violence that is likely to rock the boat. Various communities are known to inspect girls before marriage, seeking to ensure that their virginity is intact. The question of whether the practice should continue elicits heated debate from both sexes.
Hiyo ni kukosea akina dada heshima. Maana hiyo ni kuingilia tuseme privacy yao.
And in many parts of the country, wife inheritance is a common practice intended to ensure young widows are taken care of and the property left to them remains in the family. The bill, however, deems forced inheritance an act of violence.
Hatukuwa na magonjwa mingi, lakini sasa kuna magonjwa tofauti kiasi kwamba ukirithi bibi huwezi jua mzaa alikufa ugonjwa gani.
Tuwezi nikaolewa na brother yake, hiyo ni dhambi kwa Mungu.
Tukua ndugu bibi ya ndugu yako, hiyo ilishe hata leo kama tarehe 7.
The bill would allow victims of domestic violence to apply for a protection order. It would also enable minors who had been married off to apply for a protection order through an adult. The bill criminalizes repeated insults, ridicule, name-calling, and repeated threats that cause emotional pain. If enacted into law, it would empower police officers to arrest any person believed to have violated it. The bill is scheduled to come up for debate in Parliament next week.
Bungeni wanaweza kupitisha ule mswada, lakini kule mashinani bado zikaendelea kukidhiri, manake zimekuwa kwa muda mrefu zaidi.
Issues of culture have proven difficult to legislate in the past, and it remains to be seen how this bill will fare. Wilkiston Nyabwa, KTN in Nairobi.
Now we move on to sport. A last-minute try was what South African side Western Province needed to beat Kenyan's Tusker Simba 15's side 32-28 in their final preparation for the forthcoming World Cup qualifiers in Madagascar. The match was preceded by the finals of Bamburi Rugby Super Series, where UAP Kifaru defeated experienced Papa to lift the title.
Rugby Park Day started with more than a curtain raiser, with varsity franchise UAP Kifaru taking on Papa. Harun Lubisia's 3-point opened the score after his precise drop goal. That was the only first half scores for both teams. In the second half, Papa did most of the attacking but failed to crack the Kifaru's defense. Rocky Agugo added pain to Papa with a try that he also converted. More damage came with Rocky touching down to give Kifaru an important 15-0 victory and clinch the 2014 Bamburi Rugby Super Series. In the big match of the day, DHL Western Province clear intentions to impress away from home, started with a well-taken penalty by Robert Dupriez to give the South African outfit a 3-point lead. Kenya Simba responded with a try that was well converted for a 7-3 advantage that did not last for long. Pato had touched down for Western Province to give them 1-point lead with Michael van der Spy, complementing it with another quick try. Substitute Martin Owila came in with a power try for Kenya that was well converted. A perfect play gifted Stephen Kotsi with a try for a 14-20 halftime score. Jerome Pawota's 100% halftime change had an immediate impact. 7-star Collins Injera's solo run for a spectacular try came in good time, with Laila Sirigo converting. Patrice Agunda added Simba's tallies to 26, with Asirigo converting to give the homeboys a 28-20 advantage. The visitors reduced the deficit with a pushover try for a 28-25 scoreline. With the clock ticking and experience at test, Western Province got the winning try and was well converted for a final 28-32 scoreline. The fixture is Kenya's last build-up ahead of the forthcoming Confederation of African Rugby Division 1A Championship in Madagascar, which also serves as the final round of the African qualifier for the 2015 Rugby World Cup in England. Moses Wahesi, KTN Sports.
Well, thank you very much for watching KTN Weekend at 1. I'm sure food lovers will be heading down to the Nyayo National Stadium for the Gore and AFC match at 3 p.m. the Mashid Medji Derby. My name is Najma Ismail. Be safe.